Okay, so in the last tutorial we saw what an object was, and we saw that we could actually create an object using object literal notation. In this tutorial, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can essentially access the properties of an object. Okay, so down here we said console.log Batman to log out the object to the console, and this is what we get. We get the object. But what if you want to access very specific properties of the object? Well, I was going to say array there. I'm so used to talking about arrays. Well, we've seen previously that we can access the length property of an array by saying array name dot length. Okay, so previously we've seen, let cities be equal to, we'll create an array. We'll just put in Paris and maybe Madrid. We don't do Madrid enough. Okay, awesome. And we know that we can access the length property of cities by saying cities dot length. Okay, and that will log out, I believe, 2 to the console because there's 2 cities in our array. Awesome. But the key point here is we've actually used dot notation. We've taken the name of the array and used dot notation, i.e. a dot, to access the length property. And that is the same concept and one way you can actually access various key value pairs or properties inside of an object. So if I want to log out the name of Bruce Wayne, I can say console.log Batman, so the name of the object, and then using dot notation access the name of the property I want to log out of the console. And this should give us Bruce Wayne. And if I save and refresh, we get Bruce Wayne. Okay, awesome. So what I did was I logged out the name of the object, and then using dot notation, I was able to access the name property. Okay, I'm just going to basically undo that, and now we're just getting the entire object again. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to give you a challenge. I want you to log out to the console Bruce's email. Okay, just imagine this was data coming in from an API and you were seeing it for the first time. Well, what you know is the object has a name, so you can access the email property by using .email. Okay, so what we could do here is we could say console.log. What is the name of the object? Well, it's Batman. I'll paste that there. And using dot notation, we want to access the email. Okay, Batman dot email, and then what will happen is this should log out the value of the email to the console. So let's save and refresh, and we get Bruce at WayneEnterprises.com. Okay, awesome. The other cool thing as well is you'll notice that there are 2 arrays inside of the object. So maybe we want to get a better understanding for some reason of Batman's hobbies. So we could say console.log, and then what we can do is we can say Batman.hobbies. Okay, and this is going to give us the hobbies array logged out to the console. So if we refresh, we see here we get the array of all the various hobbies. And what you could do is you could actually access drinking coffee. So you don't have to access the entire array if you don't want to. You could do Batman.hobbies, and then we know how to access the first element of an array at the 0 index. So now, instead of logging out hobbies to the console, that will log out drinking coffee. Okay, so what we did was we access the first element in the array. Okay, so this is really cool. You're able to access the different properties of an array using dot notation. Just one last one for you. Can you log out Wonder Woman? For some reason, I want you to log out Wonder Woman. How would you do it? Well, you have to log out the name of the console, then use dot notation to get friends, and Wonder Woman is at this position in the array, so 0, 1, 2. Okay, so what you could do now is you could say console.log Batman.friends at index 2, and that will give us the value of Wonder Woman. And if I save and refresh, if I can find the console, here we go. We get Wonder Woman. Okay, awesome. Another cool thing you can do as well is in addition to accessing the different properties of the object, you can also change the value of properties in the object. So for example, just to prove this to you, if I console.log Bruce's relationship status or Batman's relationship status, if I say Batman dot is single, right, what do we get? Well, we're going to get true. Batman is single. But what I could do is, you don't just have to log stuff out of the console. We could actually update the value of that if we wanted to. So we don't need to redeclare a variable, say let anything. That property already exists. What I could do is I could simply say Batman dot is single and assign that the value of false, the Boolean false. What I'm doing is I'm now saying that Batman is actually now not single. He's in a relationship now. And that has actually updated the value of the object. If I say console.log now, let's say Batman, I'll log out the entire object. Let me just comment all that out. Okay, so if I log out the entire object now, what do we get? Well, we see is single is now set to false. Okay, and then we can just access that very specific property. So instead of logging out the entire object, let's log out is single, and what we should get is false. So that's pretty amazing because we've defined or created an object here using object literal notation, and what we were able to do was we were actually able to access a property in the object and override its value. So the key point is that using dot notation you can access different properties inside of an object. So console.log batman.name would give you Bruce Wayne, console.log batman.age would give you 38, but you can also override the value of properties inside of an object. Okay, key point for this tutorial is you can access properties of an object using dot notation. All you need to do is just type out the object name and then dot and then whatever property that it is you're looking to access.